and she said, "Do you want me to pray for you?" And I was uncomfortable, Tammy, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever prayed for me before. And she did, and she started praying, and the whole kitchen lit up. The sun came through the windows, and she looked at me like, And that evening, my family had planned to all go out together for dinner. It was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And in my heart, I knew I wasn't going to be there, but I suddenly started to feel like I've got a feeling that I'm going to start sinking again. So just to be sure, I really want to know if this is real. So I looked out my window and I looked at the sky. I kid you not, the clouds began to part. They began to part, and that sun that I felt in the kitchen started to come through my bedroom, and my whole bedroom lit up again.
Welcome to my podcast, Talia. It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
So we were put together by a mutual friend, and he sent me a clip, I think. He sent me a clip probably of the X Factor.
Oh, yes.
So you've had a journey since going to the X Factor. You'll have to tell us a little bit about that. And also now you've been working with Sir Brian May from Queen. I'm very interested in that too. So just tell us a little bit about your experiences in your musical career so far.
I started singing at a really young age, around 9. I got my first microphone, and it was always something I wanted to do, but life just gets in the way. I was always writing. I used to be in a girl band, and I did work on and off with Sir Brian May, during the days of the girl band, and he was kind of a distant mentor. But then I hit an age where I thought, I'm in my late 30s now. No, I was mid-30s, and I really wanted to progress, but quickly in my music career. And all these reality shows were going on, and they were very tempting. Not necessarily the best decision for me, but I knew I could get fame very quickly with my skills and with my talent. So I threw myself into the X Factor, just thinking that maybe I could get past the first round or the second round. You never think you're going to reach the end. But I did. I kept bouncing through round after round, and it was, I'd say, the best and the worst thing I've ever done. There's definitely pros and cons, but that led me to so many open doors musically within my career. It gave me so many opportunities. And then I ended up really working quite solidly with Brian May, and just, releasing records that were doing really, really well, going to events, going to red carpets, performing at big award shows. It changed my life, in a big way.
So you started when you were 9, so you just used to have a recorder in your bedroom and you would just sing?
Yeah, a little karaoke machine.
Yeah.
And I had, like a toy microphone. And I always remember I had Madonna's Immaculate Collection album, and it was in a big vinyl, and I had a vinyl player in my bedroom, and I used to listen to it over and over and over. I used to have a little bookshelf as well, and I'd smash all the books off the shelf and stand on the shelf like it's my stage, and I'd sing to all my teddies. Yeah. There was nothing else I wanted to do, and I didn't change my mind. That was it. I just wanted to be a singer.
I met someone recently. Oh, yes, that's right. Her name's Phyllis. And she said that when she was a little girl, she'd line up all her teddy bears and she would preach to them.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're the best audience, aren't they? Yeah, they'll listen to you for hours.
Yeah. But, I don't think little girls... I used to sing to my tape recorder.
Really?
I used to dress up my dolls, mostly.
Did you?
I was more into dressing. I wasn't preaching to the dolls. I dressed them up. But I had a tape recorder, and a friend of mine... and myself, we would sing, and I always wanted to. And I'd play the piano and sing. I liked.
Oh, you played the piano?
I played the piano when I was young, but I've continued to sing.
You still sing?
Yeah.
Where can I hear you sing?
Nowhere yet, but we have an album that we're going to put out eventually.
So we're going to duet?
Oh, no, I don't think so. But you did mention a song that you
Yes.
have that no one's heard yet.
Yeah. Well, 2 songs actually.
2
So
songs.
before I came into faith, I was working on mainstream music, which was a lot different to what I'm working on now.
There was a song, Get Out. Was it called Get Out?
Get Up. Yeah,
Get
during
Up.
the pandemic, I'd released a song
I like
with...
that.
Yeah, did you like it? It's very
I
happy.
like it. Yeah, but it's also, I wouldn't say it's overtly spiritual, but there was some...
No, well, I wasn't on my
spirits
spiritual...
there.
No, it was uplifting. It was empowering.
Yeah.
It was, the press referred to it as a song of solidarity. So when we were in lockdown, we managed to pull in 44 countries, people of these countries, to be in the music video. And where we were all locked in at home, it was a way to really reach a large audience and fill them with some hope and get them involved in this song.
So tell me a little bit more about that. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, so it was called Get Up, and it was about keeping hope and feeling like there's going to be a change and a better ending for everybody. And Brian and I put out a blast on social media just saying, if anybody wants to get involved, be in the music video, help us with the campaign, record a little video, we'll put it in, get involved. And it just exploded. The press went crazy.
How many people? 44?
44 countries were in this. 44 people from 44 countries were in this music video, and they were a part of it. They come on the journey with me. They came, I took them on Zoom calls into my recording booths, and it was a way of being stuck at home but also experience something new. And it was fantastic. It really did well. It charted all over the world. And it was also 10% of the proceedings went to the Mind charity for mental health. So we really did put our focus into doing something very positive, but also stopping our mental health take a nosedive during the pandemic. I found it really hard. I don't know how you found it, but I
dug myself into creative work as well.
Yeah, well, we're lucky, aren't we? Because we can do that. Creative minds can, but not everyone has a creative mind, and they're more academic or practical people that just could not do anything. So we thought this would be a great way to reach, and that catapulted me into the industry bigger than X Factor ever did.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that really...
What did X Factor do for you?
X Factor got me my 5 minutes of fame. Okay. But as you know, it is 5 minutes of fame on reality TV. So you have to make a big decision. It is. You're forgotten about as soon as the next season comes along. Right. And people were very reluctant to work with you when you've been on reality TV because you're tarnished. You're not fresh blood, and you're also, when you come off a show like that, you're still managed, and you're managed for another 12 months. You can't work with anyone. So they really keep you in a place they need you.
Oh, I see.
So I couldn't actually explode the way I wanted to explode when I come off the show because I was controlled and managed quite heavily. So as soon as I got out
what
of that
did you win there?
What did I win?
Yes.
I didn't win anything other than
you got
fame. I got to the end. I got to the live show finals.
Yeah.
And I was the biggest because I got removed from the shows in judges' houses, which is the stage before the finals. But the audience brought me back, and it was one of the biggest votes they'd ever seen. It was a landslide. So I was brought back by popular demand.
That's fun.
Yes, and because of that, I think thank goodness of the love of the audience for me, I've managed to keep a career going because they never forgot me. Had I have just been that one-hit wonder or flash in the pan, I would have been forgotten very quickly. But for some reason, the audience really did take a shine to me. They brought me back twice, actually. I've been thrown off the show twice. But it didn't really give me financial stability. It opened doors where people wanted to work with me, but no label could sign me or anything like that.
That's a strange arrangement because you'd think that they would want you to move forward in your career.
Well, they don't want you to move too forward and be bigger than their winner or be bigger than the next show that's coming. You know, your purpose is for that season and that season only, which I understand. It's a show, it's a panto, it needs to do well, and I was very happy to do that. I was I was of an age where I was never going to be the next teen pop star. I needed fame and opportunities quickly, so I took that option, but it does come at a price.
And so then that was the X Factor, but after that, and I don't know what year that was, but then
2017.
So you came back again in 23, because you were on the X Factor again in 23, correct? No, what did I see from 23?
What did I do in 23?
Maybe it just was posted then or something, so I misunderstood.
I was doing, I think that's when I started to really push out records.
Okay.
I started to work on movies and do soundtracks for movies. 23, I did a soundtrack for a movie.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And I lost a lot of confidence, actually, for a while. And I worked more behind the scenes. So I wrote for other people, or I wrote for shows or movies. And I was very comfortable being behind the scenes.
And then, did you suffer some then? Is that what brought you to religion?
Yeah, I started to take a bit of a nosedive with my mental health. I lost a lot of confidence. I think constant need for validation and to be famous and to be accepted and to be applauded all the time, which is what a lot of stars need to survive. It's like their battery power.
Right.
It exhausts you.
Yes, right.
You constantly feel like you're not good enough. And I knew there was something missing. There was something in me that was bigger than that, the materialistic world, the world of fame, the world of love me, love me, love me. I needed something else. There was a void in me that wasn't being fulfilled by claps or applauses. There's a quick appreciation, and you can get some validation very quickly, but there's no longevity in it.
Right, it's just gone when it's over.
It's gone, yeah. The lights go down, you walk off stage and you feel low again. So you need another hit. It's like a drug, another hit, another hit. And I had to go back and think, when did I not need this? When did I not need this constant need to be on TV, to be in if I wasn't in the paper for a month, I was thinking, well, nobody cares about me. No. When did that suddenly become so important in my life? And I tried to take myself back to a time when I didn't need that, and when was I most happy? And I did find it, but I didn't find it in a very good way. I got very, very low. I just didn't think there was a place for me, and I found life very, very exhausting. I get overwhelmed. I still do now, to be honest. I'm not great if I have to have a lot of work on, but I thought back to my childhood and when I used to go to school every day and how happy I was at school. And I went to a Catholic school. I'm a cradle Catholic. And little things like we used to pray in the mornings.
Right.
All together as children, we used to sing hymns. We were happy. And I really wanted to go back and find that again and find myself. When I was at my lowest in December 2023, the first thing I thought of is I need to find a church. And isn't it funny that when you're at your worst, or you need a miracle, you need something, that people do turn to God, and they're not actually thinking, I need to get on stage really quick and sort my life out.
Right. If you get low enough. Enough, then that's maybe when you turn.
You will find it. You will find that. And I think...
You have to look, though. You have to search, right? You have to ask.
You have to ask. You have to surrender. And I was so consumed with other things being more important in my life. The one person that carried me through everything, I just totally forgot about. I think on purpose. I think there was darker forces working through me to keep me away from God. But I had to hit a real low, Tammy, to suddenly go, okay, I need you now.
Was there a moment?
Yeah, a big moment. I did not want to be here. New Year's Eve 2023, and I have a child, so I'm never thinking, you know, I want out. You know, we don't do that, but you're thinking, what if, and what is my purpose, and if so, what would happen then? And you think, I thought dark, invasive thoughts that could be life changing, there'd be no coming back from. And in that hour of need, I just thought, okay, I need you now, right now, and I need you to tell me what to do, because I don't feel like there's any road for me that will give me any happiness. I was just empty, sad, non-appreciative. I'd forgotten all the things that helped me or loved me, people around me. There just was this complete void of emptiness that I could not fill, no matter what I did, drink or, you know, anything I did. I went to your husband's show to find some answers, and it was wonderful. And I came out thinking, okay, I'm really inspired, but it slipped away again. I went to other shows. I went to watch podcasts, listens to podcasts. It just was such a void, Tammy, that nobody could fill apart from God. And I really believe that. I believe that there was no other answer. And I also believe that I was purposely stripped away of everything to be put in that place.
Right.
Like, you will see now. And that's how I felt that evening.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it wasn't an evening. Sorry, it was a daytime. It was my mind always goes blank when I think of this. It was around 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, because I know mass starts at 10. And I'd woken up that morning and I thought, I still feel really, really dark. I'd made sure that my child had gone to you know, where he was looked after. And I just thought, right, I'm at a crossroad now. I need to get to a church. And for some reason on a Sunday, I went to my church and it was shut, 10 o'clock on a Sunday. And I thought, that's really weird. It was New Year's Eve. That's really, really strange. But I know another church up the road, St Andrew's, I'll go there. Shut.
Oh.
So I thought,
Sunday.
I know. Yeah, on a Sunday, really strange. Was it an earlier mass? Had I missed it for some reason? And it was just quiet, nobody around. And I thought, well, God really doesn't love me then. So there's no point in even doing this, because even he doesn't want to help me. I know what I'll do. There was a Hillsong about 25 minutes away, Hillsong Church. Maybe I'll go there. And it's not really anywhere I'd been before, but I needed something. And I went there and guess what? Shut.
Oh.
There was no one there. I checked the website and it said we won't be opening until the new year, because it was New Year's Eve. So I thought, okay,
oh, yeah.
He really does not love me. So I went back to St Andrew's and I sat in the graveyard where I found it most peaceful. And I just thought, oh God, I just really hate my life. This is really horrible. What I'll do is I'll just go home. And I was sitting on the steps and I remember looking up and there was a lady in front of me and she said, hello, are you okay? And I said, not really. Why is the church shut? Why are all the churches shut? What is going on? I feel like, you know, I need to talk to someone. She said, do you want to come to my house for a cup of tea? I thought, that's strange, but yes, I do. I really do. For some reason, I really want to come to your house for a cup of tea. And she ended up taking me to her house, which was the vicarage. So she ended up being the vicar's wife. And she sat with me and she said, do you want me to pray for you? And I was uncomfortable, Tammy, to be honest. No one's ever prayed for me before. And she did, and she started praying and the whole kitchen lit up. The sun came through the windows and she looked at me like, And I was like, okay. And the kitchen felt warm and it was lovely. And she prayed and she said, you know, help her find her way, and said all these lovely things that made me feel that a nice warm feeling that I hadn't felt in such a long time. and it was amazing. And that evening, my family had planned to all go out together for dinner. It was New Year's Eve. And in my heart, I knew I wasn't going to be there, but I suddenly started to feel like, oh, I'm going to get ready when I go home. I'm actually going to go and meet my family, and I feel a little bit better. I went home, Tammy, and I walked into my house, and I thought, okay, I've got a feeling that I'm going to start sinking again. So just to be sure, I really want to know if this is real. So I looked out my window and I looked at the sky, and it was a grey day. And I don't know if, well, you obviously wasn't here in London, but New Year's Eve 2023, it was raining, it was grey, it was a horrible day. And I looked out my window and I said, all right, if you're really real, show me. Nothing. Okay, I'm going to start sinking again now. I know I am. But honestly, Tammy, I kid you not, the clouds began to part. They began to part. And that sun that I felt in the kitchen started to come through my bedroom. And my whole bedroom lit up again. It was amazing. But it wasn't enough for me, was it? And I said, okay, I get it now. This is the second time you've shown yourself.
Yeah.
But just to be sure, I need to know. I need to know, because I'm at a point of my life where I'm still very unsure. I don't want to be here anymore. And I feel like if I don't get something really solid, other than the sun coming through my window, making me feel really solid, this is not going to last. And I said that loud and proud. And where the gap had been parted and the sun was coming in, the sun went. And then this rainbow on my life.
That's pretty magical, huh? Yeah.
It was amazing. And I couldn't believe it. It was this huge rainbow. And I hadn't long read about the rainbow of promise. You know, Noah's Ark and all of that. And I just laughed. I was hysterically laughing. I couldn't believe it. And I'd done a silly thing. I turned around to grab my phone because I wanted to remember it. So I took a picture. But I didn't. I turned around to grab my phone, and as I turned back, it was all gone.
Oh, yeah. That was just for you.
It was completely gone. And that's what the vicar's wife said to me. I phoned her and I said, Margaret, I've seen the rainbow. I've seen it all. And I really want to show you, but I went to take a picture and it was gone. And she said, that was just for you.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. And that moment, my life was changed forever.
A personal relationship.
Yeah. I knew why the church was shut that day. I knew why Hillsong was shut. I knew I ended up in that graveyard. I knew why I met Margaret. I knew that the whole process of that journey, that day of I do not want to be here on January the 1st to I'm in God's arms, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, I completely surrender.
Yeah.
It made so much sense to me. And from that moment, I was on the Alpha course.
What's that?
The Alpha course, it's a course. It's really big. It's run by Nicky Gumbel. I really recommend it. Yes. So he gets people back on the path and explains Christianity. And I thought, I'm going to open this Bible. I'm going to understand everything. I want to be close to Jesus. I want them to be my best friend again. And I want to feel that love and that feeling of that warmth and that love from New Year's Eve to now, this day. It's never left me.
And so how do you maintain that faith?
I go to church regularly. I pray regularly. I talk about God. I went and got confirmed in the Catholic Church. actually May just gone. My son was an atheist. I started to talk to him about Jesus more, and he loves Jesus.
Of course he does. All children love Jesus.
Yes, he loves the stories. He loves reading about Moses. Moses is his hero. He loves Moses. Any fancy dress, I'm going as Moses. So I had him baptized last Sunday.
Oh, that's
last
great.
Sunday, and like it says in Matthew 5, kingdom first, and now I put God first. God gave me an amazing man. I've met a beautiful Christian man that keeps my faith alive. I'd never dated a Christian before, Tammy. Never in my life. And suddenly there was this amazing man that was on the same path, and he talks to me about the Bible, and it's every day. My life is God, and I'm really connected to the church, and I love all Christians, but for me Catholicism is the way, and it makes me feel so connected. I feel a strong routine in my life. I feel loved. I've met the most amazing parishioners. My church community is so much fun. They're always up to something, and it's always something good and something enlightening. People around.
How many people are in the church when you go on Sunday?
40, 50
that's
children.
Good. Children too.
I'm now on a course to start teaching children's liturgy, so I'm going to be doing the Sunday school.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to stop the mainstream music. I wanted to do music of faith, enlightening music. And it's so strange because I thought this is going to be very shocking to my friends and family, and they just embraced it massively. That was a shock for me, Tammy. It really was. I never thought they would accept it. My family my Italian family are Roman Catholics, but my English side are very atheists, and so but they came to my confirmation, they came to my son's baptism, and suddenly the people that wasn't in line remove themselves. It wasn't hard. They just gone. And more people of faith, Christians and Mormons, Church of England, we're just this. I've met so many different people, and they're just everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah.
They just come out the woodwork. I was working with a producer the other week, and I've been working with him for ages, but for the first time ever I noticed he wore a cross. And I said, "Have you always worn that?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you Christian?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Why did I not know this before?" He said, "I don't know. We don't really come forward. But now this is my life, and I've never been happier. And I'm here with you."
Yeah, and you're here with me.
And it just, God suddenly clears
us
the
together.
path. Yes, and He says, "Right, I want you to meet this person," and we're like an army. And I love it. And we were talking before, weren't we, about, suddenly you think, "Oh, I'm Christian now, it's all going to be kumbaya and all of that." And it ain't. You put on your armour, didn't you? You put on your armour and you go to war.
Yeah, it's work.
It's armour, and it's a fight, and it's holding on to that faith of a mustard seed, but you keep it so precious, and you don't let anybody tear it away from you. And I've been absolutely ridiculed in the press. And it got me down, and there were tears, and my partner says, keep the faith, don't let these things get to you, because you will be mocked.
And sometimes cruelly, sometimes sarcastically, because the devil comes in many disguises, and he's a joker.
Yes.
So you may think something's fun and then find out that it's not for you.
No, you've been tricked into something.
Yeah.
I've never, and this is the truth, since coming back into faith, I've never felt so attacked spiritually by dark.
You may not have known they were there before.
No.
Now you recognize it.
I really recognize it now. I know when I'm being tested. I know. I can feel it. I can feel when somebody's saying to me, "You're not good enough to do that."
So what do you do when someone says something like that?
Well, before, I used to turn to drink, or I used to self-sabotage. I'm a massive self-sabotager, and I really don't cope well with that. But now I know what it is. Now I read the scriptures. Now I know when I'm being attacked, like, Jesus in the desert when he's being tempted. you know, when you know your enemy, you can fight it and face it a lot stronger than you ever could before. And I know who my enemy is now, and I will face him head on. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Do you ask God for anything? I ask for courage and strength all the time, because I know that I can't do it by myself.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you ask for that daily? Do you pray?
I ask before I go on stage. I always ask for courage and strength, to have the words that will land properly. You know, my daughter said I have to start asking for joy.
Oh, and joy. That's a good one. That's such
a good one.
A simple thing that we don't think to ask for. And you just think, I just want to be happy today, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should do that more, actually.
Yeah.
That's a really nice thing to ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still very new into my faith, so...
Me too. I think we both are.
Yeah. Well, you've been recently...
Yeah,
baptized,
well, and I was a Protestant. But my grandmother was Catholic.
Really?
And she changed our religion.
May I ask what brought you to the change?
I was very ill. I was told I was going to die.
I
right?
read about that.
And I looked at my son to tell him that I was going to die, and I saw his love for me, and it was the love of a son for a mother. So that's a deep love, right? That's one of the deepest loves. And I realized that my life was worth saving, or at least fighting for.
Yes.
And that the doctors had a medical opinion, but only God knows when you're going to die. And it just seemed obvious to me at that point. And I had believed the doctor's prognosis, but it's not up to the doctors, it's up to God. And so I said, we'll just go forward with gratitude. And so that's how that's how life has been since.
That takes incredible strength. It really does.
It was strength that was given to me.
That's really inspiring.
Yeah, it was. It was powerful. I felt all the weight of the world lift off my shoulders, and I felt the Holy Spirit fill my body. Yeah, it was profound. But I think I'd been tested many times, and I had never surrendered before. So it had to be a very profound lesson before I was going to surrender.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's because you're such a strong character.
Yeah.
And
you got to be careful of that.
Yeah. The stronger you are, the bigger
the trial.
Yes.
And the testing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the testing, it continues, I know. But I expect it. You know, I expect to be tested, and I pray.
How often do you pray, Tammy?
I pray the rosary pretty much every morning.
Really?
Yeah.
The full?
Yeah.
The full?
Yeah, yeah. I sit in a place in my house. I have a place, it's on the porch.
Yeah.
And the porch has stained glass on it.
Yeah.
So I can see outside, but it's private. The sun can come in, and I can see people walking by, but it's private, and it's closed off from everyone. And that's where I pray every morning. Yeah, it's good. Half an hour.
It's such a beautiful prayer. Our Lady really does give us so much strength.
Yeah, and you know, it's the practice of faith, right? It's the practice of prayer. Don't you find that you're getting, that it becomes more than it was as time goes by? Yeah,
I find that I thought, okay, I'm a Catholic now. I have to do all these things and I have to do them perfectly. But actually, it is a journey. And I love praying the rosary. But I'm learning the, what's it called? The discipline to do the full. Is it 50? It's 50, isn't it? Hail Marys. And so I start with a 10. And the 10 feels great, and then I'm going to move on to 20. And it is a journey, and there's nobody that says, if you're not like this and you're not doing it perfectly, then you're not good enough.
Oh, I think even thinking of doing it is enough. That God is there.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And I have the rosaries all around my house. I make my partner wear a rosary every day. He's not allowed to take it off. Because there's such great strength in it, and it's such a beautiful prayer. And I really do think that Our Lady moves mountains for us.
Do you know the history of the rosary?
No, tell me.
So it was 14th century, I believe, 14th century in France, the Dominican order. And then the plague happened, and the rosary came to England. And it came to England, and now the monks who survived were affiliated with the Dominicans, but they were now British monks. And there was a young fellow who became a monk, and he used to pray, and he would pick roses and put the roses on Mother Mary. But when he went into the monastery, he couldn't bring roses anymore. He couldn't bring anything in there because they have to be austere.
Yes. Yeah.
But he would imagine the roses, and that's when it became the rosary. Before that, it was the Marian Psalter, and then it changed to the rosary. But long ago, like 14th century, 15th century.
It's a really long time.
And the soldiers would wear the rosary on their belts.
Yeah, I've seen them, and some priests still wear them.
Yeah.
On the belt.
So they were to give them strength. That was to put their armor on, right?
Yeah.
Like you talked about, that was to put their armor on. Yeah, it's an old tradition.
So instead of the roses, what did you do?
Well, the roses, in Mexico, I just went to Mexico to the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yeah.
And I heard the story there. So there was a monk that came into the front of the church, and he opened his cassock, and roses fell out, and there were no roses in Mexico. Roses fell out, and when they brought the roses away, there was a picture of Mother Mary. So that's the Mother Mary that they have now. Oh. That's there. She was an apparition. She arrived there. She wasn't painted. It wasn't a painted picture. And if you look in the eyes, you can see the image of the monk.
Really?
In her eyes, yes. So it's.
I'm getting goosebumps.
8 million people come there on December 12th every year.
Oh.
It's second to the Vatican as the most revered place. Yeah.
Why do I not know about this?
Well, I'm just learning about
You're
it.
You're here to teach me this today.
Because we're new Catholics,
yes,
and we're learning things.
Each one. I'll pass it on.
That's right. So it's got a long history. But. And it's not something, and it's the gospel, right? So it's the story of the gospel. It's truly something to revere and something to come closer to Christ with.
Yeah.
And I think it's helped my journey to become closer and closer to Christ, to pray the rosary.
Yeah, I'm going to have to Google this. I need to know more. Wow.
I have a book. I'll send you the link to a book.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you finding your newfound faith?
Oh, it's very good. A community is growing around me, a community of Catholics, mostly Catholics, but not just Catholics, Christians.
Yeah.
Orthodoxy.
Yeah.
That's another population. There's friends I have that are Orthodox, so it's wider than just the Catholic faith. But the Catholic faith itself there's so many people to be speaking with and sharing with, and that's happening.
Yeah,
it's happening regularly.
People that I didn't even expect to be Catholic are suddenly coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
and also I should have mentioned I was made ambassador for CAFOD recently. They are one of the largest Catholic charities, and they do a lot of missionary work and provide for people all over the world. And I never in a million years thought they would ask me to be their ambassador, but now I'm doing so much for them. I'm going into schools and doing radio shows for them, news shows for them.
I looked them up. A Catholic ministry that partners with bishops, priests, religious and lay workers to provide food, water, housing, education, orphan support, medical care, micro enterprises, and disaster relief.
Yeah.
And the love of our Lord Jesus Christ to the poorest of the poor in over 30 countries in the world.
In the name of Jesus, they do. They really want people to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, so they'll give them the tools and, maybe they'll provide education. They want people to start helping, they want to help people's lives, but not in a way of just giving, so they can build their own futures, they can build their own homes, they can grow their own crops. And we really believe in that, and we do it all in the name of Jesus. But I remember when I was really little in my Catholic school, we used to raise money for CAFOD. And it's just unbelievable, the full circle. You know, when I was 5 years old, I used to take my money pot to school, and it's full of 1p's and 2p's,
right?
Which is very, you know, the smallest amount of coins, but it was full up to the brim. And if I brought that in, I could wear my own clothes to school. And CAFOD, we used to,
because you had a uniform.
Yeah, we had to wear a uniform. I always used to raise money for CAFOD, so I never thought in a million years they would ask me to be their ambassador.
So what do you do?
I do talks for them. I represent them. Obviously, being a singer, when they do a carol service or they're providing a money raising event, I'll sing for them. Recently, I've just sang at St George's Cathedral. It's one of London's biggest Catholic cathedrals. You have to go and visit it. It's so beautiful. High churches, big beams, you know, everything you can imagine. And they hired me to sing there. Not hired, I wasn't paid, but they asked me to sing there for their big pilgrimage. So they'd done a pilgrimage, a whole walk around London, and the end point was a concert with me. And it was amazing with tea and cake. But I've never sang in a place so holy before, with such high walls and the reverb. You know, I'd sing a note and it would come back to me 100 times. You know, it was really hard to stay on key and stay in rhythm. But I don't want to sing anywhere else now.
So are you spending most of your time then working for religious organizations?
Honestly, yeah. And it's effortless. People were asking me to do things left, right and centre. I enjoy doing it. I'm really fulfilled. My favourite thing to do is to go into schools. I love talking to the children. I love talking about scriptures. I don't like to use the word preaching. I don't know why. I don't like to say that I preach, because I don't feel I do preach, but I like to just spread the word. And it makes me so happy, Tammy. And I'm not even on telly or anything, you know, I'm just so happy, and no one even knows about it. It's great. I will get the odd article every now and then about the cathedral or things I do, and they're very, very positive. But yeah, that's what I spend most of my days doing now. Apart from musically, I'm working on songs of worship. I've got this big song coming out with Brian Mason, which is going to be... It's tough. It was 2 years in the making, so it was before I found faith. But it's not bad at all. You know, your children can listen to it. It's very uplifting. So I think it's okay to still bring that out at this point. That'll probably be out in a couple of weeks. And it's fun. You'd love it. I'm going to show it to you in a bit.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's really, really good. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think that probably will be, not indefinite, but it probably will be one of my last mainstream media songs that go on the mainstream radio. Because what I'm working on now is songs of worship, songs of praise. And that's the path that I want to go down. So
what do you think about the music industry and the type of music that's out there for people to listen to?
It's hard for me to say, because I've been a part of that, and I've been writing songs for people with lyrics that I would never write now. But it's not an industry that I want to be a part of anymore. I've been very blind in that industry for a long time. Lyrically, I just can't believe some of the things that I hear. I was in my car and my child was in the back, and he was singing along to a song that, for the first time in my life, I sat and thought, I don't want my child singing that song. And I've been a part of the writing of songs that have been very similar. I think to listen to the mainstream chart music at the moment, if you broke up lyrics and actually read what you were singing along to, half of the people wouldn't even join in the music. I think sometimes it's not age appropriate. I don't know how they get away with it. It's not enlightening. It couldn't be further from God. Some songs break through the mold that you think, oh, this is nice, but a lot of it isn't. And I really struggle. I don't listen to mainstream radio as often as I should. But this is just a cross I have to bear now, because I know that I'll pay the price for that now, in a sense of I won't be invited on the shows, I won't be invited on the radio, I know I won't be doing the things that I do with my Christian music, but that's a choice I have to make. Do you listen to mainstream?
When I was very ill, I couldn't listen to anything but spiritual music. I couldn't watch anything that wasn't a comedy on TV.
Yeah, because you need to feel happy, don't you? You need to feel light.
Yeah, there was enough, I think, sadness in my life that it was difficult to listen to anything that was going to take me in that direction. And so, I would. And my husband was just as sick as I was, so neither of us could. Comedies, that's all we could watch for quite a long time. Now, what we watch is film noir. So we watch films back from the 1940s. We watch
really?
Very old black and white films. Great films.
Beautiful
but we don't watch
movies.
very much from what's going out right now. The messages often are ideological.
Yeah.
And that just makes my husband angry.
Yes, I can imagine.
Right, so that's no fun.
No, but I find there's always an agenda behind something, and sometimes when you watch comedy, you feel uplifted. When you listen to spiritual music, you feel free. Nobody's telling you this is what you should think. This is, even songs about breakups, sometimes I find them really hard to listen to, because it's about, I'm sad, woe is me, and it's very down.
And it's very
heavy.
Me as well.
Me, yeah.
Yes.
And I like to feel lifted, happy, inspired, motivated, and I just don't get that from modern day movies.
So what is the change in your intentions from before you had your religious experience to now?
Well, before I wanted to be famous and very, very rich.
So it was about you.
A lot of ego in it, and a lot of, well, if I'm rich, that means my kids will be rich, and that means that that we'll change the family curse of having to struggle every day. And it was all materialistic, self-gratification, and ego, a lot of ego.
And what's it like now? How's it changed?
Well, I have to be forced to do anything like that now. I've got a partner that, says, right, come on, we've got to do this, because, ultimately I do have to work. I do have to do some things. Mm-hmm. But we believe in moderation. There's no great need to be in the papers every day. There's no, and if I am in the papers, it's because I want to be spreading a positive message. I won't post anything on social media now unless there's something inspiring behind it. Where before, I'll post me on a beach, holiday vibes, it's pointless posts that have nothing other than please love my picture because I look great on the beach. Where now that post would be, isn't the sea beautiful? How lucky are we? How grateful are we that we can enjoy the ocean? Gratitude, yeah. So I think it's gone from ego to gratitude. But I also understand that I do need to put things on the radio for me to be able to have that profile to carry messages. I do need to be in the papers. I do need to do things. But the intention is in order to be able to show gratitude, not in order to be famous. So the intentions behind everything I do now are so different. And if there's no meaning behind it and there's no message to be put out, I won't do it, Tammy. And there's not a price you could put on my head that would make me do something so egotistical.
So when Abraham is asked to take Isaac and sacrifice him, he's his first son that he's supposed to sacrifice, and then when he gets there, God says, you don't have to do this, and he finds a goat and he sacrifices the goat, and Jordan tells me, what does that mean? That means that if your intention at the very beginning, the first intention, has to be pure.
Mm-hmm.
So so no matter
Absolutely.
what we're doing, what we're posting, like you said, whatever you're posting, that intention has to be there for
Yes.
God's purpose, no other purpose.
Yes, and consistently,
Mm-hmm.
and don't veer off course. Your end goal has to be the same the whole way through. Like with Abraham, his intention was God. He never veered off. It was always God, and no matter what it took, he was never going to change his mind on that. And I think that is why God blessed him and rewarded him with, you don't actually have to do that, but I wanted to see, he was, in the Old Testament, it was a different thing, and he wanted to see how dedicated, and he was rewarded massively.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe in that. I believe that, okay, I'm struggling a bit now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to veer off course, because I know the end goal is to keep a strong faith and to please God and to help people and inspire people. I don't want to put any more badness in this world than there already is. And I've got a huge profile, I've got great power to do good.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I going to add to the dark? And that's the only way I can describe it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the darkness. I want to be a light in that, with intention, good intentions. And I just don't do anything now that doesn't have that. I just won't.
So the music, the songs that are inspired, then are inspired in that same way.
Yeah. The first song that I'm releasing, which has a legend on it, I've managed to collaborate with a legend. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about that moment of surrendering. That the words felt so powerful, and they felt so strong that I needed to tell the world.
Mm-hmm.
When you came to Catholic, you want to tell the world, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Christian now, and you've got to know about Jesus, and everyone has to know. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. Sit down. I'm going to tell you all about Jesus. And suddenly the lyrics just flowed, and that's my first single. I really want people to know what happened to me that day,
Mm-hmm.
and how out of nowhere that voice and that love came within. And I want to carry on spreading that word, and that will be done through music, definitely, in a modern way.
In a modern way.
In a modern way.
And
yeah.
are you singing by yourself, or do you have a band?
Yeah, well, it's just me. I do have a band, so when I go on tour, it will be a full
Yeah.
band, but I am the main singer. Well, unless this huge star that's going to collaborate with me comes on stage with me.
Right.
It is just me.
And what
yeah.
kind of, what musical instruments are accompanying you?
Guitar, piano. Some of them are a bit piano ballads, some
Mm-hmm.
are quite rocky. It was really interesting to me, because when I started to listen to Christian radio,
Mm-hmm.
We have stations called Premier over here, and the music is the same. It's just the lyrics that are different,
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's very modern. When I say to people, I'm now singing songs of worship, they're thinking I'm singing, hymns and
Hymns.
Alleluia.
Yeah.
And it's not. They're really modern. It's really, some songs are poppy, some songs are ballads, and I really think that it goes back to old school, like how Celine Dion and Whitney Houston used to do their big, beautiful songs.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing music like that.
Oh, yeah.
But also some of the songs on the album are very rocky. Lots of guitar. That might give you a little clue to who I'm collaborating with on the new Christian songs. But yeah, so modern. There's rappers out there that are huge rappers, Christian rappers that nobody knows about, but they would fill Wembley Stadium. It's just underground. There's nobody talking about it.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world.
And do you think that with your new faith that you're seeing more people coming
Yeah.
to faith?
Yes, I'm seeing more people doing the Alpha course. I'm seeing more people question, actually, more than ever. Now I feel like everybody's questioning. Everybody's at a place in their life where they think there's got to be more than this. And I'm talking about people that I meet on the school run or people that I'm in a television studio with. Nobody's doubting there's something. Not one person I've met anyway. What it is, they don't know. I'm very sure. But I think people are definitely questioning more. Do you find that people are starting to ask more questions now?
I think I'm in a very strange part of my life, where a very public part of my life, and a lot of traveling. And the people we meet are they're not random. The people, so it's hard to say really, because I'm not meeting random people. I'm meeting people who want to meet us.
Almost like they've been put there and you were meant to meet these people. I find that as well, Tammy. I find that I'm not meeting random people and they're just a flash in the pan and you never see them again. People that are coming into my life at the moment are very intentional. It's really strange.
Yeah.
It is really strange. Almost like it's mapped. I suddenly feel like I'm on the right frequency, I'm on the right path, and everything is on purpose, everything is intentional. Meeting you today, meeting my partner, meeting Ben, it's kind of like, right, you're going here now, and then you're going here, and then you're going here, and it feels so purposeful, but relaxing. Before God, before I was doing any of this, and I wasn't praying, I wasn't a believer, my life was chaotic. I didn't know who I was meeting one day to the next and if I'd ever see them again. And I certainly didn't have intentional conversations. Now I'm having very intentional conversations. I'm not just talking about what I had for breakfast and what's my favourite chocolate bar, which I do talk about, but I want to know people's faith stories and I want to know a lot about their journeys. Everything's very purposeful now. Like I'm on a plan. I'm on
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's very different. It's very different.
Very different to before.
Well, they call it a calling.
A calling, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Conscience and calling. So paying attention to our conscience and looking to see what the next right thing is.
Yeah.
To focus our attention.
Exactly. And I would take on any work before because it was work, and I would actually bend over backwards for things that didn't fulfill me and maybe didn't even pay me right. But now I think, right, what is this for me? And I do that with everything I do. Before I was a very yes woman. Yes, I'll do it all. Chaos. My head was everywhere. My life was everywhere. My house is still really messy. But most things out at exterior were just chaos. But now I really think, is this for me? Does this serve my faith journey? Does this person need me to serve their faith journey? Because I'm quite happy to sacrifice my needs if it means somebody can progress in their Christianity. Everything is so thought out now.
But you have to go clean your house.
I do. How can I do that? Tell me.
A little at a time.
A little at a time, yes.
A little, yeah. Get up every day and do one thing.
Yes.
That's how you
Make
do it.
my bed.
That's how you do it. That's right. Make your bed.
Don't tell Jordan. No, but I find it really hard. I think since becoming a Catholic and since devoting my life to God, I'm still finding balance as a mum, as a homeowner.
Yeah.
As a Christian, I'm still mapping it out. I was only confirmed in May.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. It's just got to all level out.
And this takes time.
Yes.
But it came up as a thought just now.
Yes.
So.
I'll start the kitchen when I get home, Tammy.
Okay. Well, whatever. But start something.
I know I will.
A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. And don't do too much because then you won't do it the next day. So just a little bit.
A little bit at a time.
Yeah. So can you think of, I guess if you do, if all your music is focused on an a religious message, a good message, then do you feel like that's helping to change the atmosphere of the music industry? Or is it just is there too much going on behind?
It's not going to hurt.
It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
That's right. It's not going to hurt.
It's, I have a lot of followers, and if I can bring 3 of them to faith and show them that they're loved and there's, a higher power that appreciates them, and if I, just 3 people, then I feel like my job is done. And you've got to think as well, I'm still working with the same team. It's just I've changed, but now my band are playing Christian songs.
What's that like for them?
We laughed for a bit. Oh, what is she doing now? Is this a phase? Because I like my phases, I go a bit blues, a bit jazz. Now she's doing Christian music, but suddenly everyone's really happy, and there's no questions. And when we played St George's Cathedral, there was this element of, I'm having a really good day. I'm really enjoying these songs. And it wasn't even a question of, these are all God's songs and this is what we do. It was, I feel good today. I'm having a good day. I'm really having a nice time with these parishioners in this church. It's subtle changes, subtle unconscious changes in my band and in the people around me, but that's good for me. Sir Brian May is now, he's my son's godfather. He sat through a Catholic service, something that I don't know if he would have ever done in his life, rock and roll, but he really liked it. And that made me feel good. I'm talking to radio presenters about my faith. That makes me feel good. People are coming on this journey with me, which I think is a really good thing, because they haven't changed, but maybe 5% of them is suddenly waking up. And that's great for me. My producers are producing a Christian album now. The month before that, we're doing Eurovision. 2 completely different things. So it's almost like you sow the seeds and everybody comes along with you. No questions. I've not heard any negative. My family were great, which is surprising, because they still have this thought of, well, what did God ever do for us, when we lost blah blah, or when this, where was God then? And they're really in that frame of mind. But the more they come to Mass, the more they came to my son's baptism, my confirmation, the more I'm talking about God all the time. There's a little light switch, isn't there, that suddenly flicks on. So that's what means the most to me.
Yeah, it's through our actions, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think I'm changing the world, Tammy. I don't think I'm changing the music industry. Like cleaning my house, a little bit at a time, one person at a time. If I could just help them a little bit. My best friend I've just put on the Alpha course, and my boyfriend is a Protestant. He's Church of England, and he sits in a Catholic Mass with me every Sunday.
Yeah.
It's great, because when you get up there, Tammy, there's no, you go that way, Mormons go that way, Catholics go that, we're just all going to be together anyway. And I truly believe that.
What would you say to aspiring musicians, if you had any advice to give to aspiring musicians?
I would say, don't get sucked into this is the music industry and this is how you have to be and these are the songs that get played on the radio. Always follow your heart. Don't bend yourself into a shape that you're not meant to fit in. And a really good example of that for me, God rest her soul, was Amy Winehouse, who I really adored, and I think she could have been put on such a better path if she had better people around her. Yeah. But she was one in a million, and she is an amazing example of be true to yourself. Don't sing things, play things, dress a certain way because this is what the music industry says, because your greatness and your shine that comes from within you comes because there's only one of you. So if you're trying to be like everybody else, you're just going to blur into the mold. I made the mistake of wanting to be a pop star for so long. I was a blues singer. You know, blues wasn't on the radio. I was soul. That was my bag, and I wasted so much time trying to be the next Miley Cyrus or the pop star. And had I've just stuck to my guns, I would have been more powerful than ever. So I would say, whatever's in your heart, do that. Don't veer off. Don't be pressured. Yeah, and also don't take the knockbacks. So I was knocked back so many times, and back then I saw it as I wasn't good enough, or that label at the time didn't want me because I wasn't good enough. And actually, like every church door being shut on me on New Year's Eve, it's because that's not for me.
Right.
And I think people are so set on feeling like failures because things don't work out, where if they just flip their minds and just accepted that it's not that it hasn't worked out, it's just not for you. That's not your path. I think people would be a lot more happier.
I met a singer when we were in Mexico, an older fellow, and I asked him how old he was when he began to sing. And he said that when he was young, he wanted to be like his dad, and his dad was a bullfighter. So he wanted to be a bullfighter.
Oh, no.
but he was a singer. So he went to Spain and became a bullfighter. And the first bull that he fought broke his knee. And so then he got better. And then the next bullfight, he went out and he broke the other knee. And his dad sat down with him and said, God gives you a gift. He's given you a voice. And you've gone and become a bullfighter, and the bull has broken your knees.
Your knees.
That's a sign. You have to sing. And so he began singing, and he sang for his whole life after that.
Really? See, this is what I mean.
Yeah.
And he could have gone away thinking, I'm a terrible bullfighter. I'm never going to make my dad proud. I'm a failure. When it just wasn't his path. And I think people really need to accept things. That's the biggest thing. It's ego again, isn't it? Accept what isn't for you. You don't have to be the best at that, and not being the best at that doesn't mean you're a failure. It means it's just not for you.
Yeah,
but
right.
some people will go, no, I need to be the best. I need to be the best footballer. I need to be the best bullfighter. And they will carry on and get knocked back, kill them in the end. Where if you just accept what's in your heart. I had a lady, a vicar, and I said to her, how do I know what's right for me? And she said, the Holy Spirit will tell you. I said, well, how? Is it going to whisper in my ear? And she said, no, when you feel excited and passionate and that's what I want to do, that's the Holy Spirit telling you that's for you. So that bullfighter probably was not feeling those feelings, and thinking actually want to be on stage where he's waving a rag. But now I wait for that feeling, that burning of passion and excitement, like when I go to schools. That's when I feel that feeling the most, when I'm around children. And I never felt that before I came to faith. It was always effort, forcing myself, dragging my heels. But I don't feel that anymore. I feel excited every day. I felt excited coming to see you today. I know I'm on the right path. So that if there's any message I could give out, that would be that.
Yeah.
Follow the feeling in here, not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
And I look forward to listening to your music.
Yes. Yes. And I look forward to listening to your music.
Yeah, we'll see when that comes out.
Thank you, Tammy.
Hey, thank you.